Welcome
You never know.
to a very special episode of the very special podcast. I'm John Olson.
And I'm Jose Venutolo. You like Jose?
We are the hosts of the Movie Club Collective, but this is not that show. This is just a new show that we're going to do whenever the hell we feel like.
Yeah.
We had a little scheduling snafu, so it's just the two of us, and we want to wait for a third person to do the regular show. So we're just going to do a show and talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
Yes.
Sound good?
That is correct.
Because that's kind of what we were going to do anyway.
Anyways.
This time. So we might as well record
You
it.
should record. You should probably record.
All right, it's recording.
Let me check if I'm recording audio. I am recording audio.
I'm glad. We're going to have to cut some of that out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll pop in right here.
Maybe we'll
So we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We, on the Movie Club Collective, one of the things we don't do is talk about new releases, new movies.
We don't.
We want that show to be timeless.
Yes.
Some episodes are more timeless than others.
Definitely.
But this show, we can talk about anything.
Anything at all. But I guess we're going to talk about movies anyway.
We're going to talk about movies, right? We both saw new movies.
It's like we can talk about anything at all, but we're going to choose to talk about the exact same thing that we always talk about.
Yeah, once again.
Yes.
We may, if we go off, we'll go off.
We'll go off.
Whatever.
It happens usually.
I don't want to set too many parameters.
We saw two
but
recent
we saw
movies.
movies.
Oh, by the way, I bought on iTunes The Lobster.
Oh, I need to see it.
Have you seen? Again, I have it on iTunes. You can watch it. But
All right, cool. Okay, I
it's
need
a
to
good
get to that
movie.
one.
It's a good movie.
So my New Year's resolution this year was see more movies.
You
Because
succeeding?
last year and the year before and the year before, I just barely saw any new movies. Watch shows or something, or like a trailer, or like go to Netflix and like browse for 2 hours rather than pick a movie
I know.
to watch for that amount of time. So I was just like, you're a filmmaker, John. Watch more movies.
Exactly. That's what you are.
So I've seen a bunch of them, and I could be doing better having a slow July. But I just saw a slew of new movies. 2 in theaters. Ghostbusters
Yeah,
was one of them, and Star Trek was the other.
Star Trek
So we'll talk about
Beyond.
both of them.
Yes.
What'd you think of Ghostbusters?
And I hated it,
You hated it.
and it hurt me. It
hurt you.
It hurt me.
It hurt you.
It hurt me.
It hurt you.
It hurt me.
It sounds like this movie has done for you in some respects what The Last Airbender did for me. Because The Last Airbender hurt me.
Oh, okay. In that
It
sense,
hurt.
Yes. In that sense, yes.
It still hurts though.
In that
It's
sense,
a scar.
Yeah.
It's a scar so deep. I swore an oath against Night Shyamalan. I won't give him any more of my money.
It's a sad thing because
I'm sorry.
I don't
No more movies.
I can hate it to the point that you hated The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
Like what I mean.
because it's not as bad.
Well, what I mean.
I didn't hate this movie.
You didn't hate it.
I did not hate this
you
movie.
did not hate it. This
Maybe. Okay, so maybe I went in with low expectations.
Yes.
And that helped things.
Yeah.
But like also I went with someone who was enthusiastic to see the movie.
Okay. Well, that's always a positive.
I went with my girlfriend Brianna, and I was like, did kind of a roller coaster of emotion on the ride of this movie, because it was like, first I wanted to see it, like when I heard about it, the concept, I really wanted to see it, and then the internet like hated it, and so I just wanted to see it even more. I was like, this movie had better be really, really great, because like, fuck all the haters.
Yeah. Did Brianna liked it?
And then I'll get to it.
Okay, good.
And then it was like the trailer dropped, and like everybody hated the trailers. At first I didn't hate the trailer, but it kind of sat on me wrong. And then another friend of mine was like, the black girl is the only one who's not a scientist, and like she works for the MTA.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Like these seem like stereotypical kinds of holes to put
I have things to say about that.
people of color in, right?
Remind me in case I forget.
Yeah. So, and I was like, she's got a point. who am I to disagree with that point?
Yeah.
Because it's like on the one end it's like female empowerment, you know, on the other it's like race relations. But I liked her character in the movie. Like, she has so many positive characteristics. She's friendly. She's genuinely interested in things. She's smart. Like, maybe she's not a scientist, but maybe it's because the opportunity didn't present itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because that's what our fucking society does.
Yeah.
It, like, refuses to prevent, or, no, it prevents people who otherwise might be able to succeed from succeeding just based on circumstance. I mean, that's life, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking over as many of us as possible.
It's killing us. Life is killing us.
All the time.
From the moment you're born, life is trying to kill you.
So, like, that ended up not bothering me so much in the movie. I laughed throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I thought there were a lot of really good jokes.
Yeah.
This is like the same reason I say that I like How I Met Your Mother. Because, like, that show is full of jokes, and I don't care that I hate all the characters in that show, because it makes me laugh. And, like, themes were a little weak, but they did try for them. You know, like, there is themes of, like, you know, being a real friend and sticking around and, like, sticking to your guns and, like, being an outsider and, you know, accepting yourself in spite of that. So, like, there are these themes that are pretty good, but, like, could have been even stronger. And I feel like from a plotting standpoint is really where it's weakest. Like, it could have set up its plot points a lot better. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because, like, in the original Ghostbusters, what's so great about the end of the movie, to me, has always been that, like, when it's time to cross the streams, we know the stakes already.
Yeah. Yeah.
From, like, right in the beginning, right when he introduces the proton packs, he's like, don't cross the streams. And you know it's going to come back, but it's so early in the film that it's like, you have this buildup and you have time to forget it. And then when it comes back, you're like, yes, of course we have to cross the streams. What's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this movie didn't deliver on that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's its biggest failure. Like, they established that there's a nuclear weapon on the car, and Brianna actually brought this up when we were talking about it afterward, that, like, they established that almost right before it happens.
Yeah.
And, like, that's lazy plotting. They could have easily established it beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
where you are.
Yeah. I want to hear what you've got to say. I know I want to.
Well, first of all, the history with me and this film is that the Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters, it's my earliest lucid memory of enjoying a film. This is why the Ghostbusters. This is why it hurt me. This is why it hurt me, because
that's too high of a bar, don't you think?
I know, of course. I mean, yeah, like I knew going into the theater that it wasn't gonna be that you know, like it wasn't gonna lead to my expectations. I am an old fan, and not only I'm an old fan, I have sentimental commitment to this movie. So then, you know, there was no way somebody could recreate anything like that. I'm actually one of the few people that do not hate Ghostbusters 2. Like, I actually like it. I
love Ghostbusters 2.
I like Vigo more as a villain than I like.
He's a more memorable villain.
Yes, he's definitely more memorable. I mean, yeah, he never goes out of the painting or anything like that, but it's like the control.
But you have a face to put to it.
Yeah.
Like, Zool just kind of walks in at the end and is like,
and
this
then that's
faceless
it.
thing.
And then that's it, yeah. It's Gozer.
Oh, Gozer.
Zool is the gatekeeper, because the other one is the keymaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I just forgot.
Yeah, that's fine.
But anyway, and then
names.
you know, and you see that at
and
the
I
end,
like the story of the, what's his name, Vigo the Carpathian.
Vigo the Carpathian. The
I love his story. Is like
Moldavia,
it's like Rasputin times 12.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
They just took Rasputin's like unkillable story, like a real story that's bananas, by the way, and they were like, let's just multiply that, and like that will be our ghost. Like that makes for like a really good hook. Like, I don't know. I like Dan Aykroyd and his stupid cigar the whole movie.
I enjoy it when, because, you know, like this is the thing. Like, Ghostbusters could go into many directions, but it seems that they already covered the two major ones, and then anything that they could do would be just a repetition of these ones, but it have to be clever.
That's why Bill and Mary said no forever.
Yes. What I mean is like, you know, like the first time that we see the Ghostbusters, like the first Ghostbusters, our villain, it's a deity from another dimension.
Yeah.
That comes into this dimension every once in a while until we find a way to just kick it out.
You know, one thing I liked better
Mm-hmm.
about the new Ghostbusters as to the original is the reasoning behind why ghosts, like why now ghosts. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like,
Gotcha.
because to me there was always this question of like, why weren't there already Ghostbusters?
I know.
Like in the way that ghosts interact with humans in that movie,
In that universe,
like
yeah.
the only reason is that there's this apocalyptic event coming. But like, is this a cyclical thing? Is this a one-time thing? Like, why now? Whereas this movie, it was like they set it up with a book. The villain found their own book and then was like, I'm gonna build my own technology based on this to amplify ghosts.
Yeah.
And they like followed the trail. Like I liked the reasoning behind it. It wasn't just like a random 2012 event or something.
No, that's true. That's true because I mean that's.
I thought that was a strength.
And I'm gonna also talk about that. But the two things that the original Ghostbusters did is that first they brought a villain from another dimension, and then they brought a villain from out of town. They just brought a guy from Carpathia, like the Sorrow of Moldavia, the horror like Romania or something. Like they brought him from where Dracula is from, like around that area.
Of course.
And then the Carpathians or Carpathians, the Carpathians, like that. It sounds cool. Like a lot of people know where they are. A lot of people do not know where they are, but everybody have heard about that war before, and it's always associated with like that dark magic and stuff like that. So then you have like a foreign ghost, and then you have another dimension ghost. Like, how do you beat that unless you bring like a Mayan ghost or something like that? Once they have the apocalypse out of the Mayan calendar or something like that, But
There's a million things though, right?
It's still it's still bringing just a foreign ghost. And if you bring somebody from another dimension, it's still again bringing somebody from another dimension. So the thing with that's difficult to beat, and I understand that. But what I felt that they could have done with this movie is instead of orienting it only, which is my major plot thing against it, is that it's for kids. It's not like the other one was also for kids, but this one is like
there were a lot of jokes in there that were. It's for teens. It's for like
I know, but it's like you could like imagine if
it's
you
a
could
young
get,
adult movie.
Imagine if you could get Ghostbusters the way Christopher Nolan did Batman.
Yeah, but people don't want that right now. Like they didn't go that way.
I know.
That's just I don't know. Like
I don't
keep
making them, and I'm gonna keep going to see them because like that's how I am.
I don't think it's a kids movie.
I think it's
per se
straight up a kids movie. Like I'm gonna tell you another.
I think
thing.
it's a teen. I think it's a tweens movie.
I think that we completely disagree on one aspect in this movie.
What's that?
And it's that one of the things that I liked about the original Ghostbusters is that they don't spend too much time explaining to you how these people were able to develop all this technology.
Yeah.
They don't even make
so
it.
That's a new area that the new movie can focus on.
I know, but that to me that feels that the whole movie then had a setup. Like I know the proton packs. I don't need to know where they come from. I don't need to know how you build them.
But this is the Batman Begins approach,
they exist.
Jose.
I know, but
you can't say I wish they'd do what Nolan did, and they've done it. Like they
know.
literally broke it down and were like, okay, they don't have enough money, but they have a genius person who can like rig random things into a proton pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's exactly the method that he used with Batman Begins. Like here's Bruce Wayne. He literally needs to make a bat suit. How's he gonna do it?
No, but that's different because like what you're.
How's that different? One's comedic, one's serious.
I know, but like in the Batman universe, you always set up the way that Batman becomes Batman. In the Ghostbusters universe, you don't set that up. You make it too fast, and then. What I'm saying is that with the old movie, the old movie gave more time to the plot and less time to how these people became these people. They're just like half an hour into the movie, they're already the Ghostbusters. They have everything they need to have, and it's all about plot point. It's all about story. In this movie, I felt that they just kept coming back to, oh, look at how awesome this thing I make. Like, and also like the ghosts are not ghosts. They're basically like animals. They're too physical. Like, why do they have to create all these new weapons and stuff? Like, what is wrong with the proton pack? Like, this thing makes me feel
that's
that this is meant for kids.
I feel like you're looking at it with way too much nostalgia for the way that movies were made in the 80s versus the way they're made now. Like, just look at the Star Trek movies from the 80s versus the Star Trek movies now.
True, but
there's
I like
so much
the
more
fact-
action. It's so much more colorful. It's much more frenetic editing. Like I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
I know.
But like, it bears comparison to like the way that things were done. The episode that is being delayed right now, Vertigo, like that's such a different style.
It is such
of
a different
filmmaking.
It's such a different
the
style of
50s
filmmaking.
versus like what Vertigo would be today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like even if someone like David Fincher made it, like it would still be this like tense thriller with like a pace to it and like, you know, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think that
go too much with Vertigo.
you miss the style and the pacing of older films.
I kind of.
But like it changes. We
Look,
did it ad nauseum. Thousands of movies came out with that.
I was excited about the idea of a whole female cast. I was excited about the idea that this director has made movies that consistently I have liked, and I was excited about the idea that Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig were in that movie because I tend to enjoy movies with them. And then one of my other disappointments is that I like Melissa McCarthy was playing Melissa McCarthy, and Kristen Wiig was playing Kristen Wiig. Their
Can we talk performance? Let's break them down.
In a sec, but let me just finish this idea. Like they too were playing just slightly extrapolations of other comedic characters they have made in other movies, and I wanted like the thing that I liked about the original Ghostbusters that all these guys were completely different personalities one from each other. They have some overlapping things like Ray with Egon and stuff like that. They were all scientists, but the comedic aspect came from their interaction as friends and not from physical comedy. This movie relies too much on physical comedy, and I feel that draws from the characters. The only character that I feel is very memorable and unique.
I think.
No, I laugh.
There's good word jokes. It opens up with some really funny lines when he's just giving the tour of the house.
Did you catch the boss?
And he's like the anti-Irish electric fence, and this is where Barnum had the idea to imprison elephants.
I know. I mean that whole beginning upset me.
Yeah,
like how this guy finds the ghost.
Spoilers,
and
by
like,
the way.
just
I'll
like,
put it in the hashtag.
Yeah, we need to.
For both these movies.
It felt that like the only memorable character that was different enough from everything was the blonde girl, the geeky, very
Kate McKinnon, whatever.
Yes, correct. Her character was super great. And then when you mentioned the black girl, I saw the exact same thing that Brianna saw. I go like, why is she the only one that is not a scientist? Why
it wasn't Brianna.
Why she's well, okay. And also why is she playing a stereotypical black person? Like that to me.
But I don't think she. I don't know.
Like, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't like this woman. This woman was a comedic relief as all of them.
I don't know what's so stereotypical about her though, aside from maybe an accent.
I don't know.
Honestly. Like, yeah, she's got some sass, and, like, that's a character type. But she's also, like, I don't know. I feel like the way she plays the character, the emotions come from a real place. To me, she's actually one of the standouts of the movie.
She was definitely, yeah.
If we're talking performance, I liked her. I liked Melissa McCarthy. Because for me, I've seen Melissa McCarthy do, like, really over-the-top, ridiculous. And she has those moments here, but, like, I feel like she grounds the regular character with a calm enough demeanor that like when she does sort of like the jump that's like so ridiculous onto like the back when she turns evil, like I don't know, it worked for me. So I liked her. Kristen Wiig, I was kind of like a very blah performance overall. I don't know, she's like there was nothing new from her. I agree with that.
I don't know. I feel
this for Melissa McCarthy, like this is so different from Bridesmaids. It's an extremely different performance.
It is.
And I give her a lot of credit for that. Kate McKinnon is a little much for me. The crazy one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember their names except for Patty. Because she's got the damn necklace and they say her name all the time. But like she was just a little much for me, and her look was a little over the top for me. Like she looked like an anime character, the most, like big time, the most. So, like, I was a little blah on her and blah on Kristen Wiig.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of disappointed with Kristen Wiig because I kind of expect a lot from her. Like she was so good in Bridesmaids, but she's not always that good, I guess. I don't know. In this one, it didn't quite do it for me.
I don't know. It just like it felt honestly.
What did you think of the cameos?
Oh, the cameos, yes.
Really, the cameos were so forced.
My.
I love how we're just disagreeing on across the board. On this movie.
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that like I wanted to talk about the cameos.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the cameos.
I did not enjoy at all Bill Murray in this movie.
No.
Like it was a terrible like.
He's the only one that affects the plot of all of them.
He's the only one that affects the plot, but it felt like when I saw him on the TV, I go like, oh, this is great. But then when we see him going to them and talking to them, I go like, this is pushing it too far. If he's not gonna be a part of this movie, like because then they kill him right away. Like it's just like you should have left it in the TV, like the other characters who just had a scene and then that's it. And I also felt that his character was just not neither funny, neither interesting. It was just put there for the purpose of Bill Murray needs to be in this movie. He doesn't move anything.
Yeah, he wasn't funny.
He doesn't move anything forward. The other cameos I did enjoy, especially Dan Aykroyd, to whom I used to have like early Dan Aykroyd, and I think this happens a lot with comedians, and I heard a lot. But like it's just with Dan Aykroyd, it's like the Dan Aykroyd from like the '80s SNL, the Dan Aykroyd from the early movies.
Dan Aykroyd was awesome back in the day.
Around the Ghostbusters, he was like funny and approachable. This Dan Aykroyd feels bitter and rusty. Like it feels that if you approach him, he's not gonna be a fun person. And I granted, he probably had like a horrible life. I don't know, I don't know what. I don't know if it's like bad or something, but I'm sorry I said it. But it just feels like that Dan Aykroyd feel like you could just go to him and he will be.
I do miss
close to
the old Dan Aykroyd.
The old Dan Aykroyd. This Dan Aykroyd, although I did enjoy his cameo, he did pull one of his classics SNL characters, and I felt like I was back in the '80s, and I was just looking at him a little older, but actually doing what he's good at.
So Dan Aykroyd, that's your best cameo?
That's my base cameo.
What's worst cameo? Bill Murray?
Bill Murray.
Okay.
Sadly, Bill Murray. And then in other levels of enjoyment,
what are some of the other ones?
I would go Sizemore. Tom Sizemore is his name.
Tom Sizemore? Which one's he?
The black guy in the first one. He's Tom Sizemore.
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, yes.
Tom Sizemore is
his real name.
No, Ernie Hudson's his real name.
Oh, really? Tom Sizemore? Then
Tom Sizemore
I have
is
no idea what that is.
Else.
I don't know. It's something else. Yeah, Ernie Hudson. He was like in the middle of them. I enjoy. You kind of see it coming when she keeps talking about the uncle, and you go like, oh, the uncle has to be him if everybody's getting a cameo. Annie Potts. It's the name of Janine.
Maybe.
I think it's her. I enjoy her cameo. I enjoy her character. I think it was like clever to put her there. I missed Rick Moranis. I guess they couldn't get him. And I was wondering about Sigourney Weaver. And I figured like, well, I mean, they're probably just bringing the actual guys. And then when I see Annie Potts, then I go like, oh, then they're probably bringing everybody else. Like we're going to see Sigourney Weaver. Then when the movie ends, and I go like, oh,
hers came
Sigourney Weaver?
So late.
And then it just came out, and you go like, thank you. Like
we didn't get Rick Moranis though.
We didn't get Rick Moranis. I was like, they probably couldn't get him or something. I mean, he has his reasons probably for it, but like I can understand if some of them did not want to do it and ended up doing it, and I feel that even if, like for example, I didn't like Bill Murray's part in this movie, but I appreciate that he agreed to. That
He's been very agreeable on the whole project, along the whole way.
So Sigourney Weaver too. Like I thought like maybe Sigourney was not gonna go for it, and then she went for it, and she took it seriously to make fun of herself. And I enjoy when actors do that. When actors go and say, "I'm gonna give the fans what they want to see."
I guess the one I enjoyed the most was probably Janine.
Janine, yeah.
I just like her.
Mm-hmm.
I go, why aren't you in more movies?
She's awesome.
When I saw her, like you can just be that serious character every single time, and I'll never complain about it. Like she's great. So I liked hers. I'm kind of with you on Bill Murray. Like he wasn't funny.
No. He's obnoxious. He was like I mean, his character was supposed to be like that, but
he just kind of was like old man Murray.
Yeah. I don't know.
I like that he's been so agreeable about the whole movie. and like supportive of it. But
you know how it feels. How I feel. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's like this is how I felt. I felt that I could predict, or it could be an intuition to know that most of them did not want to do it, and then they agreed to do it, and then they did it, and they did it well. Bill Murray feels like he didn't want to do it. He agreed to do it, but he did it
he's been
as if
very public in the lead up to this of being very supportive.
I
and
know,
like,
but it feels like
he
he
seems
was
like
doing
he's genuinely
it.
excited.
It feels like he was
to
doing
pass the
it
torch.
without wanting to do it. And
No, I
that
just think
came
that
across.
he hasn't like, I don't know, like the Bill Murray renaissance is over. I think, like, he had this like resurgence as an older actor, where he did a string of good movies and good like deep performances. But like now he's just showing up, and he's just Bill Murray.
Yeah, he's just
You know what I mean? And like sometimes that works in the comedies. Like he did that in whatchamacallit, the Zombieland.
Yes.
And it was perfect.
It was
That's
great.
what we needed.
It was
for
great.
that movie. But like he does that here, and it's like he's in character, and it still seems like he's kind of phoning it in.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah,
I think we'll see some good Bill Murray to come.
I hope so.
in a couple of,
Dan Aykroyd, yeah, he's had a
just-
weird career.
and he's like the way that he can.
I didn't care for his cameo. It's very like, I mean, it kind of made me chuckle that like,
Yeah.
but it didn't really do much for me. Ernie Hudson's, I liked that they set it up,
Yeah.
but then he didn't say anything funny. Like he didn't have a good punchline. Like they had all this build up, and I was kind of like just the fact that he shows up is, I guess, the punchline.
Yeah.
But like he should have had something like a really good zinger about the funeral cars or whatever, or like what she's doing with her life now. Like they could have done so many things with it, and they just did nothing. He's just like, oh, I can't do 4 funerals with 1 car, and it's like
You can. I mean,
you know, that sucks.
well,
Okay,
like-
yeah, he's out of car.
I mean, you could, but that
Use the fund to buy him a new one.
Wanna
Problem solved.
I was gonna say something horrible, but I shouldn't say it. I
Um,
shouldn't say it.
So I liked the concept of him being her dad and whatnot, but uncle, whatever.
Family.
Sorry, family member. But I just didn't like the delivery.
Gotcha.
And the Sigourney Weavers, I was just like that. I didn't experience I guess if I thought of it that way, maybe I might have enjoyed it more. But I was just kind of like, why is this like tacked onto the credits?
I know.
It just seemed like an odd place to put it. Did you stay till the end of the credits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're bringing.
I thought they were gonna do the fart joke.
They're bringing what's in.
I thought they were gonna do the fart joke at the end, and I wish they
thought.
had.
Yeah, I thought.
I wish they had.
No, I was glad that it wasn't.
You're glad that it wasn't.
I was glad that it wasn't.
Okay.
And
Too
I-
easy?
I like. Yeah, it was like.
Well,
it's
you
like,
know what?
no.
Here's the thing. You can't do the exact same joke. You have to do a twist on it.
Yes,
So like, but they didn't do a twist on it. They just didn't do a joke.
exactly. They just want.
And I was like, oh, I was expecting a joke, and then I didn't get a joke. So there were occasional places where it could have been more of a comedy, but it wasn't. So I don't know.
It's weird.
I give it like a 7.
No.
6.8,
Oh wow.
7?
It's like I give it like a 4. Like this movie, it's
Oof.
really not sitting with me.
It's not sitting with
like
me.
it's not sitting with
That's
me.
how I feel about it right now. The way I look at movie reviews is like how you feel about it right now.
And
It's a timestamp.
and this is just to close it so we can jump into the other one, but it was so freaking irrelevant and so freaking bad that we haven't even thought about the villain. Like this guy was the worst villain
Yeah, he was kind of lame.
ever. Like it's just like I hated it.
Yeah, he was lame.
So much. All these gadgets to make, like how the ghosts will just look all animated and stuff like that. Like the old movie.
You didn't care for the animation
like,
of the ghosts.
oh god,
I can
like
tell.
the animation of the ghost was like horrible. It was like too carnivalesque. You
It
know,
was-
like
for me, it was a little over. The colors were really overdone.
too much. It's too much.
The colors were really over. It looked like a Nickelodeon or a Disney Channel product in that
Like
regard.
there was no intention whatsoever in this movie to try to make a ghost scary. Like the other movie still tried to make some ghosts scary. This one just goes straight for they're committed. They're gonna do something dumb or something, or like what is that thing with Slimer? Like why would you just harm that character so much and bring like a female Slimer and
He
then
looks
they go,
exactly the same though.
Oh god, yeah, he was the best like CG then, but I don't know. I did enjoy. One thing that I did enjoy. Like this is just like the thing that I did enjoy was how they made Not only they bring back Marshmallow, the like a Stay Puft Man, that was okay. I enjoyed it. I knew they were gonna do it. I knew probably it's not gonna be a big plot point. Just like it was his cameo.
yeah.
It was his cameo. I did enjoy that they have to battle something huge, and it comes out of the symbol, the original symbol of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, what do
becomes,
you
I like
choose
it.
your own destruction or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I like that he chose that form
Yeah.
to be the form that attacked them.
It looked kind of like Dan Aykroyd, didn't it?
Yes, I didn't like though how the logo was revealed. I would have preferred them to just come with different stupid logos and eventually find out, oh, this is actually.
I didn't
the
mind
logo. The fact that a guy didn't like graffiti. I saw
Didn't bother
it,
me.
like the moment it was happening, I go like, oh, they're gonna just reveal the logo. Like it's so easy to just like be ahead of this movie that I didn't enjoy that. It's very easy to be ahead of the movie, like like 2 minutes before something happens, something's gonna happen, and I hated that. I think that's I don't know. It's for kids. Damn kids.
I think it's for tweens. The editing was a little clipped for me too. Just on another note, like a lot of times I feel like they didn't let jokes settle, and they could have like had just a little more impact with like, I'm talking like half a second more on the ends of cuts. Like I feel like they took the edit and they're like, we have to cut 2 full minutes out of this movie, but we can't cut any scenes or lines. All right, let's just take frames off the end of every single cut. Like I feel like that's what happened with this movie, because cuts are just like they don't have time to settle.
Yeah.
And I thought there were jokes that were edited better there were a couple of jokes that were edited better in the trailer than in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the mother joke, for example. She goes like, whatever, your mother. No, I love your mother. You know, like that joke.
Yeah.
It has like I'm telling you, like a fraction of a second longer to settle in the trailer, and it's like, oh, that's all it needed. And I feel like this movie went through a pass, and they just were like, you have to cut X many seconds out, and they're like, how do we do that? Okay, we'll cut the dance number out, and we'll put it in the credits, and then because like he just goes straight to the end pose.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't even do a little dance. Like have them do a tiny bit of the dance, and then they put the whole dance in the end credits. Because clearly they just cut that out of the movie. So you could have just had them do a little bit. And I don't know what kind of restriction they were under, but I feel like it was just like someone was going, cut it down, it's too long. Give me those seconds.
Chris Hemsworth's
Second,
character.
I loved him before the possession.
I love the fact that they are like they change male for female, and they introduce chauvinism, like a reverse chauvinism.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like
nice.
he is the
That's
blonde, he's the dumb blonde sex.
He's the bimbo.
Sex blonde. Yeah, exactly. I just thought that with him they brought it too far. Like certain.
I loved how dummy he was.
His stupidity started annoying me. Like
Really?
Janine was not stupid. Like you know, like you.
He's He's the complete opposite of Janine. Janine was super capable, dorky, you know, like
the Ghostbusters.
to
What do you
business.
want? And then she sets it on the.
What do you want?
She sets it on the when she's the receptionist. She was like, "Hello, what do you want?" And I go like, "That. Yeah, thank you. That I wanted that. I wanted what do you want."
But he's the exact opposite of her.
Yeah.
He's just a terrible receptionist. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't even have, his glasses aren't even functional. He just wears frames. Oh, it's easier that way. I did like that joke. So I don't know. He cracked me up. I got a little old. And like once he got possessed, I was kind of over it by that point.
Yeah.
And also like him being like, I want to be a Ghostbuster. I'm in costume, came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
Like literally nowhere. And there were a number of things like that without setups. So anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
We talked enough about Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I like the Ghostbusters though. This is one thing I'll say about it. I like that it brings up gender politics inherently. Like it makes you think about it a little bit, and it like is actively like unabashedly feminist. And it's like these are heroes for girls.
Yes.
So it's like,
That's good.
you know, it doesn't matter what you think, Jose.
It does. It really does.
It's for someone who's a kid.
I want to
It's
ask
so
you
that
something.
when boys and girls play, the girls can go, I'm going to be a Ghostbuster. You can be a Ninja Turtle. And like,
now
my hero represents me.
Yes.
You know?
Do you think Do you think these when we? I think your internet for like your
Oh, my.
thing froze.
Yeah, you keep kind of locking up. I don't know.
There you go. There
Okay,
you go. Now
there's-
you're moving.
alright.
Do
But
think,
you were actually the one frozen because I'm the one recording the feed.
Do you think that
Sorry.
what we have said here will harm our careers?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think-
Anyone who thinks like we're having, I don't know, a reasonable, logical discussion.
would said terrible
not
things about,
throwing-
about people. I've said terrible things about people.
I mean, specific people though.
Yes.
That's like to me. That's the line.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to my sort of beliefs about how people should treat people, it's don't generalize groups. Don't make judgments about groups, but individuals are okay once you know them.
That's fine.
Like we can't stop ourselves from judging others or other things, but like wait until you know it.
Yeah.
Like if there's a club and you know for a fact every member of that club is a douchebag, then you can generalize that club. Like if you've met each one individually, but until that happens, don't judge that club.
Don't judge a group. Don't just go.
Don't judge groups.
No, don't just.
As soon as you make blanket statements about groups,
Yeah.
you run into
like
murky
North
territory.
Korea is evil. No. The Nazis are assholes. No, you generalize it too much. The KKK,
Right.
all assholes. It's like no, they're a bunch of
Right.
nice guys.
I understand that there's nuance, but like
I know what you mean.
I just
know
think-
exactly what you mean.
you know, the Nazis did, but like the Nazis are a good example because they generalized about another culture.
They did.
They
did.
really generalized
I mean,
about another
all
culture
these-
to the detriment of that culture
all these people. Yeah.
irrevocably through time.
No, it's because their motto that brings them together, it's already evil. So then you can't generalize that everybody who joins that motto, it's inherently evil.
Yeah.
You know, like I understand.
But
that.
you have to be careful.
Yes, I understand. You can't
Um,
say that about like the Directors Guild. No, because it's not inherently evil. Like Nazis and the KKK, their sole premise of being part of it is just having some sort
And you
of
can be
thing
against
is
that
dirty.
platform
Yes.
also. But like to generalize about all those individuals under a single thing, I think that's where you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Blanca State.
And so like, you know, I can judge Dan Aykroyd because he's put himself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can judge his body of work and like generally what I know about him. But you know, I don't want to say like all actors, you know.
No.
As soon as you start doing that kind of thing, that's where you're underwater.
I know.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Let's talk
Star
about
Trek.
Star Trek. Is that like
We'll get there
on
someday.
a positive note?
Oh, we'll get there someday. What do you think?
On a you know on a consistent and equal, like I will say, like we're gonna have the same kind of opinions here. Star Trek was a fantastic movie, and if it wasn't because of the emotional impact that seeing the first one and getting to love these characters as I loved the previous ones, like what the first one did to me in that sense, I would probably call this one the best in the series.
So you would think of it as a culmination.
This one, yeah, this one, I feel that
Because it reaps what the other movies sowed.
exactly. The other movies were good on the on.
I think this movie
emotional.
also reaps what the original series sowed in a way that the first two didn't. So like I
Yeah,
think this one is
that's where I was
such a
going.
nice marriage of this new cast and the old show.
Yeah.
Like I really think they
Yes.
finally hit the note.
Yeah, it feels that the first two movies were we will see, we know you, we know who you will become, we know how you will be. So these are origin movies. These are like how did you become that person? With like I'm gonna present challenges to this person, and then because I changed the storyline, also I changed the course of events. So I want to see how these people still in this universe become the people that I knew, and then beyond. Star Trek Beyond comes, and then it's the first time
They are those people.
They are those people. This is the first movie where they are those people.
It's true.
This is
The
it's
first two movies they're discovering
yeah,
those people.
and the first two movies are all happen before. This movie takes in the heart of what the TV series was, in the heart of the 5-year mission. So to a certain
I
point,
think Kirk has had a nice series of arcs because he
it's
had the
amazing
like
arcs.
yeah.
Amazing arcs. Like it's really
Because like the
relevant.
last one was sort of the ability to step up and to like
Yeah.
take command.
Yeah.
Like the first one was like, do I even want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, in
Um,
this movie, this is the first movie where you understand why each of them is what it is on the ship. and does
They
what it
feel
does
like a
on the ship.
well-oiled machine,
Yes.
right? Like they've been in it for 3 years. They know each other now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And the thing, one of the things that I mostly enjoy about this movie was that you got to not see them becoming friends, but you got to see their dynamics as family. Like the little moments, like with Bones and Kirk when they're drinking, and they go like, "Oh, I thought he was gonna be like I thought he was a vodka guy. Oh no, like surprise!" And then they're drinking and they're talking about themselves philosophically. They are basically questioning their life choices. They do what friends do, when they have those moments. Like that conversation that they have, and several conversations that I saw during that movie are conversations that I have had with close. I have had these conversations with you. I have had this conversation with my friends down in Venezuela. Like it felt to me like true friendship. It felt to me like this is what they do on their own
I
time.
think the magic that carried the original movies. I didn't see a whole lot of the show. I've seen all the Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that carries the original movies is a feeling of genuine friendship.
Yes.
And sometimes the original series milked it a little too much. But you always felt the rapport between, Leonard Nimoy and
Yeah.
William Shatner. Like it felt genuine.
I also enjoy very much.
And like now it feels like that
Yeah.
in this.
I also
I feel like this cast nails it.
I also enjoy very much the fact that there was no there was no female interest for Kirk in this movie.
Yeah.
It felt like for a second that he was gonna go with but then he never pursued. Like there was no moment in which he was cocky and the guys like he had his moment, but
He's
he was a
focused.
captain. He was focused and captain, and he was like
Yeah.
a little bit.
Got a job to do. You can help me. Maybe
You
help
can
me.
see him actually being really better by this. Like this job was taking already a toll. on
Talking
him.
about gender, going back briefly to gender politics, like this movie is actively trying to take. They have an initial cast that is predominantly male.
Mhm.
There's one female character, so like this movie really makes an effort to add female side characters to like fill in the gap and to allow for diversity of those
Yeah.
characters. Because the problem when you have one female character is that then she represents all women, and like
Yeah.
that puts too much of a burden on that character, and there's so much scrutiny that then goes onto that character when it's not balanced.
Yeah.
And it's so off balanced in the original Star Trek crew, and so I think that they did make a nice effort to like, the Jayla character is. I mean, she could be man, woman, anything. Like she's just a person
Mm-hmm.
with her own set of goals and stuff.
Yeah.
And like romance is just set aside, and it's just like character.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that, and they did that with kind of like a lot of the smaller roles are female. What did you think of Sulu and gay dad and being a dad? Did you even notice it? Oh my god, I'm looking at your face.
I did not.
I think that tells me what
I thought that was
need to know.
a nephew.
a nephew. No, he's got the black daughter and he's got the Asian husband, and they walk arm in arm away together. So okay, this actually hits on how I felt about it.
Wait.
So this was announced before the movie came out.
Wait.
That Sulu is now gay. They announced that Sulu's character is gay,
never even
and there's
picked on
been
that.
some back and forth between
I
between
never even picked on
George
that.
Takei and like Simon Pegg who wrote it.
Oh, this is awesome. This is great. Like I never picked on it. I
And
completely
you didn't even
went
notice.
off my over
So
my head.
that actually speaks exactly to how I felt about it. So I went in knowing that this was a thing, and I was curious to see how they were going to handle it, because it was immediately like controversial to take a known character. Because like to George Takei was kind of a Takei. George Takei was like initially kind of against it, and he was like, "You're changing an existing character,"
Mm-hmm.
and I think he didn't. He's gay, and so he didn't necessarily want to put himself on that character.
Yeah,
he
that's true.
played that character.
I understand.
So that was kind of his argument. And Simon Pegg's argument was that there's never been a gay Star Trek character. So he's like, if we make a new character that's gay, then
It's gonna
their
feel that-
only characteristic,
Is that they-
their primary characteristic will be that they're gay.
Mhm.
And they will be the gay Star Trek character,
Yeah.
and like he's like, isn't that like tokenism? So
Yes.
like, and then you just have your token gays. Like, so to take a character who's already well rounded and established, and he's a badass in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and to just be like, and he happens to be gay. Um,
I didn't pick up on that at
and so
all.
I thought that was nice. So what I felt about it when I saw it then was that they underplayed it. I was like, they showed him walking arm in arm, but then when they needed to play it was at the end of the movie during the finale to add stakes to the death of the station.
Mm-hmm.
So like the station is under threat, and if you really want to add stakes, then someone is in danger. And so like Sulu's husband and child are in danger. And they show a brief scene of them running by in amidst a bunch of other crowd shots. So like I'm not surprised you missed it. And I feel like they could have highlighted that and used that to kind of raise the stakes that his family is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like he doesn't get a scene where he greets his family at the end either. Like they're rescued. He saved them. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
Dad is a effing badass hero, saved the whole millions and millions of people. Like he doesn't get a moment with his family.
Yeah.
So I felt like they underplayed it. Honestly, I'm like, if you're gonna do it, do it. Like you don't need to like have them,
Maybe
like
maybe they showed
tonguing
it.
each other.
Maybe they showed it and it's gonna be on the
I mean, if
director's
I
cut
missed
or
it,
something.
I don't, because I was watching for it.
Maybe it's on the director's cut. I had no idea of this, and I didn't pick up on that, and I think it's wonderful.
Interesting.
I think it's great.
Because like it's weird that Star Trek hasn't had a gay character.
It's true.
As progressive a show as it is, inherently, it's all about the most ideal structure we could come up with.
Maybe it was just like because the original never banked on it because it was probably
Well, at the time,
too much for
yeah.
those times.
But like even more recent ones haven't had it.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
it's
Although,
interesting. 50 years, 50th anniversary.
50th anniversary. I know. These.
What do you
The first 30 minutes of this movie, I have two more things to say about this movie. Probably more, but there's two.
Yeah.
There are two that I need to say. The beginning of this movie with this whole captain's log thing was not only amazing, it was poetic. And the way it was cut, the way it was directed, like this is the first man, and I'm talking about the director, who took
Justin Lin.
who took the time to show us that universe, to show us the world in which they live in a way that we will awe of it. The other ones were kind of like around the bushes, and he dived into their culture. He dived into their cities, into their into their inner like the way that they live inside the ship, like to the point that this felt that it was directed. And if you make this movie about a British ship that gets sent to the colonies every once in a while back in the 1800s or 1700s, this is the exact same thing. I felt that these men were sailors that used to go in long journeys,
It's a starship, after all.
and I felt that what was offered to Kirk was a vice kingdom and representation of the king in the colonies. Like that's what that station was. They offer him the station the same way that they would offer a commodore or somebody back in those days. Say like, you have done so well, now we're gonna ground you and you're gonna live like a king in here because you're gonna just manage this thing. So it always, like the way that he shot the ship when the ship was leaving, the way that it shows us the city, it feels like if you put those shots on a boat and you make the boat sail to the new world or something, to strange lands and stuff like that, it's the exact same thing. Like this movie makes such a comparison and connection with this being just a boat in the middle of the ocean.
To comment on that.
Yeah.
I loved the opening also. I think it's one of the best parts of the movie.
Beautiful. It's poetry.
And I think that it's like one of the cool things about Star Trek is it's going on 50 years now, and it does have this timeless quality. Like we were able to do the Kirk story in the 50s, and we're able to do it now, and like there is a timeless sense about it. Like you could sort of take this crew and put them in any scenario, and it works.
Yeah.
Like a ship in
Yeah.
particular. Like you could do it in an office building if you wanted, or like a factory. And it would work. Like there is something about that. Yeah, I agree. It's a nice feeling that it gives you. Yeah, the script is really on point, especially in those early
Mm-hmm.
narration he does.
Yes.
It's really good. Like the visuals matchup is really nice. Justin Lin's got a flair for transitions.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that launching shot also from
Mm-hmm.
the station
You know,
is amazing.
you know the other shot that stood with me. It's again going back to when Bones goes and have the drink with Kirk.
Mhm.
In the window, I mean, they're in the middle of a long hyperdrive travel.
Yeah.
So this is how like we get to see how their lives, what they see through the window for weeks before they just come out of that.
Yeah.
And that's just that was the representation of sea. All you see around you is just water for weeks until you stop and then you get somewhere. So this gave me that feel. This gave me that feeling that this captain have to go back for days that count to weeks sometimes to his room, and then he look out the window and the exact same thing happening out
What's
there.
the second thing you wanted?
I think I mentioned too. The first one was the fact that the direction at the beginning was poetry, and the second one was
Okay.
was-
I thought they
yeah.
were kind
No.
character-wise, I think this movie nails it.
Yes.
And I think that's the most where this movie nails it.
Yes.
Is that it knows the characters and it knows how they work together. And the theme of them working as a team is really strong and it's used really well. There is some convenience to the way things are laid out in that like their specific ability is like really useful in their given situation for all of them.
Yeah.
So that's like a little convenient, but it allows for the script to really highlight what each of their skills are.
Yeah.
Because they each have something really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked that about the script. I love like when they first get attacked and everything goes to shit, Kirk does everything right.
Yes.
And I love that. It's all on point. It's exactly, okay, yeah, no, it's an immediate danger. Start firing, put shields up, red alert. You know, he does 1, 2, 3. All the things he has to do, you know, and like doesn't jump the gun on doing things like attempts to get through it first. And he accepts the loss in stride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in the first couple, it's like he gets kind of emo about things, you
Mhm.
know? And in this one, it's just, this is a job. I
Yeah.
know how to do the job.
I know how to do it.
I am a pro.
Like he is. Yes.
And I do like how we get sort of the cockiness with like the capability.
Mhm.
You know, I love the scene where he's like, I'm not going to miss.
No, yeah.
Like, come on, I'm not going to miss. But then they throw out the question of like, well, do you know what you're shooting it for? Because he's like, it's a square thing, right? Boom. And it's like, well, what if it's not the square thing? So I like that. There's so many good moments in this movie. Carl Urban as Bones is like
It's
the best.
like, damn it, Jim! I'm not a doctor. I'm a doctor.
He just nails the curmudgeon so well.
Yeah.
The lovable curmudgeon. He
Mhm.
does it. He does it better than the original guy did it. I mean, it's uncanny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a big standout for me. Yeah, Chris Pine is Kirk in this movie, and kind of the way that Kirk is written in this movie
Mhm.
are good. And I just like it. To me, it's more nostalgic than the first couple, in the sense that it borrows the overall formula, but not specifics.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like the J.J. Abrams' way of calling back to the old series was to like make really specific references to things, tribbles, you
Mhm.
know, or the Kobayashi Maru, and like,
Yeah.
you know, these really kind of like things that people fixate. Yeah, very specific. And this one was like, we'll just take the adventure formula.
Yeah.
Like this is the formula.
It's an
This is a
episode. It's a new episode.
Yeah, like in an episode, you would, you know, be in this exact scenario, planet, someone asks for help, we're going to go down the planet. You would focus on like one of those pairings. You know what I mean? You'd have like, or maybe two. You know, you'd have like a Bones and Spock episode.
Yeah.
And then that would be it. And this movie just allows you to do all of the characters.
This space station was gorgeous. Like I don't even know.
Oh my God,
I
one of
don't
the prettiest things.
I don't even know if it existed in the universe before, or they created it for this
I think
universe.
they created it for this
but
story.
this space station makes sense. It's a colony. It's an artificial almost planet. Like it's beautiful. It's good. Like
It's so gorgeous.
The whole concept that carries this is great. The colonialism of
I
mankind
love those ships.
going
The
into
ship flying under
It's-
the
yeah.
causeway.
It's New York.
Yeah,
It's New York.
on an epic scale.
Exactly. It's the extrapolation of New York. It's like all races, all things just come and live here. It's a planetary colony. It's almost like Babylon 5 on steroids.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's gorgeous the way he presented it. I don't know. Like I really enjoy that. I really
Yeah, I
enjoy
thought
that.
it was great.
And then I don't know, like this movie.
What do you give it?
No, I mean I give it a 10. I can like I have things against.
Where
it,
do you place
but
it?
It's not like.
Where do you place it in the Star Trek movies
Actually-
that you've seen?
Oh, like this is my favorite.
This is your favorite?
This is my favorite.
I've seen all of them. I think I just saw this movie a couple days ago, so it's still super fresh. I kind of want to see it again, but I think it's my favorite of all
Yeah.
of them. I think it just nails what Star Trek is, while still having like a lot of modern style action and sort of cinematic flair.
I have something to say about that.
Yeah, well, I mean we got to kind of wrap here.
Yeah.
But so I would give it a 10, and I think I placed it number 1. First Contact's really good. Star Trek 4 is really good.
yeah.
Those are probably the big contenders for me in the
Mhm.
overall pantheon. It's definitely to me the best of the new ones.
Yes.
The first is a close second,
The first is is a very close
and
second.
the second is a distant third.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that.
yeah, that's
like-
that's
I-
how I rank
I
it.
like the way to put it. I like the way you put it.
But yeah, so it's up there with the best
Mhm.
for sure. It's like in the top tier.
One thing before we leave. To the point, and you know when a movie is good about
9.5 if I got to give it a number.
You know-
like there were 9,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Not quite 10.
I can get
I like
that. I can get to
9.5.
9.5 too. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but this is my thing. You know, this is a movie by all intents and purposes. It's expected to be an action movie.
Mm.
Action adventure, and it felt that this movie had so many good things that even when action was good, it was not the highlight of the movie. It was never the points more entertaining of the movie, at least for me, except for the whole surfing thing, which was marvelously done, and the fact that they just called that classical. Is that classical music? Like it's like those are the kind of jokes that you're expecting. But to me, the action sequences were the least entertaining part of this movie. Everything else, like
I thought they
was so
serviced.
good.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes they were a little indulgent, the action sequences, but for the most part, I thought they served, and they could have been way more over the top.
Yeah.
Especially considering who's directing. He's
Yeah.
directed like 3 of 4 of the
That's
Fast
also
and Furious.
my kudos go to the director. Like he's
Like
his action
for him,
sequences-
this is restraint.
yes,
You
And-
know what I mean? But they managed to do like the shots of them like burning the hive
yeah.
to the Beastie Boys. Like that's really self-indulgent, but it's so pretty.
It's gorgeous.
It's so pretty.
It's so well done.
that I'm like, don't care.
It's the only
Don't care.
over-the-top thing that happened in that movie, and I accept it, and I am grateful for
Yeah.
it because you haven't been blasting
Yeah.
me with anything like that before. And then his action sequences were good and entertaining, and his directorial
Flaws?
vision of these was so good that
haven't-
those two things, even being good, are the least interesting and
Yeah.
and amazing things. So
Yeah, I agree.
like he's an amazing director.
Do you have any nitpicks? I have one. I have one gripe.
Tell me.
With the plot.
Tell me.
Which is that
The picture?
the MacGuffin is not very threatening. His swarm of ships that destroys the Enterprise
Mhm.
is way more threatening than the virus thing that he has.
It's true.
And it feels more dangerous. And I feel like the only reason they had the virus thing is so that they could end it with a hand-on-hand combat sequence.
True.
So that they can get it mano a mano down to the wire. It's not really mano a mano though, because it's Kirk and crew versus what's his name.
The way that I saw it is like if
So like I understood why they had it, but I don't feel like it was compelling enough compared to this weapon that he already had that was already really intimidating
Mhm.
and crazy. And I love the way they solved that problem.
Mhm.
Like to me that could have been the finale. Like that could have been the end.
yeah
And like probably should have been, but they wanted to have the the actors fighting each other, and they
Yeah.
wanted to give Idris Elba just a little extra
Yeah.
kind of villain time.
Yeah.
So like I understood why, but I felt like it could have been stronger, or it could have been something less mass scale and maybe even more personal, like a personal vendetta. Like you have to like, there's at all costs he has to kill this one person. Like I like if I were to offer tweaks to the script, that's kind of probably the only suggestion that I could possibly offer is like, you
No,
know,
I understand it.
make it personal. That will raise the stakes, as opposed to like this virus could spread to all the Federation or could destroy all. Like, play up Sulu's husband a little more so that we can be afraid for him. Those are my only real
Mm-hmm.
things. So that's why I don't give it a 10. Because to me, there are those flaws stood out to me.
I
But
see.
yeah. So that's all I
don't-
got in terms of flaws.
I can't think of anything negative.
Not anything.
I
Okay.
can't
That's fine.
think of any.
All right. This has been a very special episode
Yes.
of our very special podcast. The very first, so most special episode possibly until the next
Two
one.
movies.
We did 2 recent movies in one go. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments. What do you think of
Definitely.
Ghostbusters? Are you a hater or are you on board?
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Peace.
This has been a J Squared production.